I'm going to show you step by step exactly how I build out my Shopify stores that do multi-six figures a month. Now here's one of them that did over £500,000 in revenue from Q4 2024. That's about $622,000. There's not going to be any fluff. There's not going to be any magic or anything out of the, what's impossible for you to do. It's going to be just pure execution. Okay, we're going to set up a really solid back end that's going to be able to run these kind of figures for you. So to get started, let me just explain the basic infrastructure. Super simple, a complicated word for something so simple. So first we're going to need an email, for Shopify account, right? And secondly, we're going to understand what it is we are creating. So one Shopify account equals, X amount of Shopify stores. So your Shopify account is basically the host of all of your stores. You don't have, one Shopify account per store. You have one Shopify account and as many Shopify stores that you want in it. I'm not, off the top of my head, I don't know if there's a limit. So, you have your Shopify account and then under it, you have a beauty store, right? You have a clothing store, right? You have a gym store, maybe you have another clothing store, whatever, right? Problem solving, drain cleaner, whatever. And it all comes under one Shopify account. Now you are still paying monthly subscriptions for each of these. So each of these is its own independent store that requires a setup, which I'm going to be explaining in this video. Okay. The next thing that you need to make sure you do is secure your Shopify account. Okay. So Gmail ideally with 2FA. And with your Gmail account, say it was, Jamie@gmail.com. That was your email, right? People might know what that is your email. Okay. So what you can do is do a plus symbol and then some sort of hidden identity here, right? So you could do like Shopify account. So even if people then tried to log in at jamie@gmail.com, they wouldn't be able to because of this. But the emails to this are still going to be forwarded to jamie@gmail.com. So it adds another security level, right? Then on your Shopify account too, you want 2FA, you want it all set up. Don't use SMS 2FA. It's, pretty dangerous when you're doing, 6-7 figures. You want to be as secure as you can, right? So 2FA everywhere using an app. And this basically just explains the infrastructure we are looking for. So then you just go to shopify.com, you start free trial, you get to choosing your plan. Realistically, you're going to pick from one of two options. Advanced and Plus, you're not thinking about that to start with, right? Now, £25 a month, £1 a month for the first 3 months. It's the same on all of these, but these two are what you're going to be choosing from, okay? If you are fine, if you're pretty new and you don't know how many orders you're going to get, and you're not confident, you're just learning the game, just always go with basic, okay? Now, if you want to go to Shopify, this is for when you want to hook in VAs, get your ERP with your supplier set up, right? Because you get staff accounts. So this is what that's for. And you also get 0.3% discount here, which, cool. And then 1% on third-party payment providers. Now, when you are at scale, there is a bit of math you can do in regards to, are you going to be saving more money than you're paying for Plus? It doesn't have the card rates here, but it's like when you work out the percentage that's going to Shopify from all your sales, is the percentage that you're paying in fees, like the difference going to be more than what the pay is, and then it makes sense to buy it, right? So, yep, for now, you want to just go with one of these two. Shopify if you want staff on board and an ERP. This one if you're just learning. So now we are in. I've put some card details in and I subscribed to the Shopify plan for £1 just to go over it with you guys. So this is the back end if you didn't know. In my videos, I talk about backends, and what I mean is, like backends in this. So my store is one backend. If I had another store, it would be just below it. And all stores, you see them all like I've shown you on that note file, right? Here, each one of these is its own unique backend. Okay, so first things first, we want to make sure we get paid. So we come down to settings, we go to payments, and in here we can set up PayPal and we can set up Shopify payments. Okay, now if you're not going to be using PayPal, this is half set up, so your customers can check out with PayPal and it will go to whatever email you've provided, and if there isn't a PayPal account for that email, you're cooked basically. So if you're not using it, come in and deactivate it like that. If not, just finish the setup. Super simple, right? Now with Shopify payments, we're going to have to turn on 2FA. Good. We're going to have to submit them some details like ID and some like bank statements or something like that, some of your name and address on. So just fill these out and then put your bank details in, and then you're going to be set up ready to receive money. Now, I'm not going to do that because I can't be bothered to go through the hassle of uploading ID, yada, yada, yada. But once it's done, click Manage Payment Methods, and then inside of there will be all the payment methods you accept via card. Okay, so just make sure they are all ticked, and at the bottom should be Klarna. Now, Klarna is a new feature with Shopify payments, so just turn it on. The fees are quite high, but you know, if you're selling a decently high AOV product, you know, it might entice more people to get that sale. If not, then, you know, you can kind of choose if you want to use it or not. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our markets. Okay, now as you can see here on this account, we have 3 markets and we only have 1 active. So currently we can only sell to the UK. We don't want that. So we come in, we click add market. Let me do that easier actually. Okay, this shouldn't be as annoying as it's coming out. It should be like anywhere else. I know that's an Etsy term, but you should be able to pre-select all of these. Okay, so you see they're all broken up into Oceania, North America, Europe, right, Asia, Africa. So we want to go to Europe. Obviously it doesn't come up now. It only does it countries. It doesn't buy it by bloody markets. So we got like Europe there. We can add that. I'll show that shortly. Yeah, this is coming up really weirdly. And I don't know why. As I do the video, I'll probably see this. No, it's not on a tick, of course. Right, so this is essentially saying what countries we can sell to and how we're going to sell there. Okay, so we have our Europe and we have our North America. It also would tell us the sales to that market, which is extremely useful. So now we want to come in here, we want to go to shipping, and we want to see our shipping profiles. Okay, so if we click manage in shipping, now, okay, this is where it's going to be cooking me. Oh, yeah. It gets really annoying, right? So, yeah. Oh, this is really annoying me now. This is all I want. They're the 3 I want. Okay. So, you'll see here, right? We have standard and we have standard. Now, what we want to do is we want to delete that paid one, come into this free one, do a custom, do a nice little name, you know, luxury delivery. Well, luxury wouldn't work. Premium tracked delivery, right? And it's free. We remove the conditioning, it's free. So this is how it will come up with at checkout. And then we do the same with these other ones, right? So premium tracked delivery, we remove the conditioning and we make it free. And we do the same up here. Let me just make it a bit quicker. Custom rate name, 0, remove the conditioning. So now in theory, all our markets should be free. Okay, so let's save that. Let's try and sort out this whole market crap. Right, this is just silly now. This is silly. So we're not really doing any of this. You can do delivery customization if you want, but there's nothing that you're going to be doing that for. So there we go. We want Europe. I tell you what, this just seems to get more fucking messed up each time you do it. Right. So we'll leave that because that's just really pissing me off now. Right. The next thing that we're going to want to do is, so we've done our markets, we want to do our policies. So down here, what we're going to do is be able to insert a template. Brilliant. Woo. Except this template they generate is not the best and it's filled with leaks. Okay. So look at when we read through here, to be eligible, blah, 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 blah. If you want to contact us, it's the Shopify account email. We don't really want that. We want like support or contact, right? Or hi at whatever your brand name is. So it's like brandname.com. Okay. Because we never want to have our customers emailing a Gmail. Now I will go over domains shortly. So we always want our customers' names going there. We also want to make sure that if we've put any of our personal addresses in, it's not leaking here. Okay, so if you don't even want to talk about returns, just delete that. Then this is where we put the brand in. Let me just copy that for safekeeping. Now, what you can do quickly is just Control F and then search for square brackets. And then if you see any square brackets, you know, search the @ sign. And again, we've got one down here. And that's fine. So now we know that policy is set up. Again, we've got the privacy policy. We can click that and now we can check through. We want to search for square brackets. No square brackets in here. We want to search for @. There you go. And now another @ that's there. That's fine. Terms of service, the same again. We insert the template, except this is going to have a lot of square brackets and I'm not going to do it all here. Okay, so you can do that. If you have an address for your company that's not your home address, go ahead and plug that in, right? But just make sure you're removing these or linking them. Make sure it makes sense, right? Don't just delete this and then it says, which can be viewed here, and there's nothing there. Make sure you put that link in and make sure you change the emails in here too, right? Now, shipping policy, this is where you're going to want to write it yourself. What is your shipping policy? Do you send to military camps, APOs? You know, what kind of delivery time? What countries do you ship to? You know, this is where you answer all of the customers' questions because they might click this and your policies do come up at the bottom of the checkout page. So they might be in the checkout page and think, oh wait, what is the shipping policy again? Because now imagine if you have your shipping and delivery here, like we just set up, but here we've got premium track delivery, but what's the days on it? You know, 5 to 7 days, right? That answers the question for them there. Obviously be accurate. So now they don't need to check it because it tells them. But if you don't do that and you don't really know what your delivery window is, or it's not something that you want to be kind of flashy with, it's not something to brag about, then just stick it in here, right? Then contact information. This is when you go ahead and put your brand name, your email in. If you set up a phone number, like a WhatsApp, business WhatsApp, anything to get in touch with you here, a link to your Shopify checkout, that can all go in here, nice and cushy. So we've talked about our what policies to set up. We've done our payments. We've chose which plan we want to do. Now, what I'm going to do before I do domain, I'm going to talk about users. Of course. Oh, of course. Let's refresh. See if they want to let me in there now. So here we have our users. Now it has changed recently to more role-based, right? So you can have multiple roles, and then each user can then be assigned a role, so you're not configuring permissions for each one. So we want to have our support staff, right? So a VA, customer support, just the name of it, doesn't really matter. Description, role for our VAs handling customer support. So down here, everything that they can do is broken up into permissions. So for this, they need to view orders. Okay, they need to deal with refunds, cancels, exports potentially. They're never really fulfilling because that is your ERP job. They're not really editing. Well, actually, they are editing because they could be updating addresses. Let them in the abandoned checkouts. And that's pretty much it for that. And then in apps, we are going to be breaking that down shortly, but there's going to be some apps that you're going to want them in, like Shopify inbox and stuff. They don't need to access POS. Customers, they want to be able to view them, export if you want, edit store credit if that's something you want. I'd probably can't leave export off actually. Okay, so now we want to save that. Then the next role we want is ERP for our supplier ERP. So they're going to use a software called EtsyJamie. And now let me pull it up because you will then see. This is it. Yeah. EtsyJamie. That's how you go to it. So they're going to need to have access to, you know, your orders, but the main thing they're going to want is the app EtsyJamie. Okay, my Chinese is not great, but we'll get to that bit shortly. Let me just ignore that. That's just for me. So now let's go on to domains. So I am just going to use a burner domain for this one. That's just, you might recognize, you might not. It's not being used at the minute, so we'll plug that in. Now this step can take half an hour, just kind of waiting, right? So what we want to do is we want to buy a domain from somewhere like Namecheap. You know, Namecheap's pretty good. GoDaddy, Google Domains, if they're still around, they might have closed down, I can't remember. And then we want to plug it in. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go do connect to existing domain like we just did, and we're going to wait for this to configure. This is updated again. They just like to update load nonsense, and this is what we need. Okay, so we need to update our CNAME records and our A records on the back end of our domain. So I'm not going to show you this. I'm going to do it off camera because, well, it's in my domain account. So this is what we need. Okay, so we want to copy that there. This is an A record with the host being the @ symbol. Okay, so I'm going to plug this in off screen, and then the TTL for this I believe is normally 60 minutes. It's just not saying it here for some reason. Now we want to add the CNAME, which is there, and again it's www as the host, paste that in, TTL is going to be 60 mins, and this is normally the slow bit. So we click I updated DNS records, and it normally takes a while to propagate. So we just kind of sit here, go make a coffee, go make your lunch, go do whatever other productive thing. Yay, it did it a lot quicker than it used to. So maybe this update is pretty good. Now we come in, change domain type, change that to our primary domain. Okay, so what we want to do from here is go to notifications, and what we're going to want to do is set up our sender email so it's not this. So what we want to do is go to general, whereabouts is this again? Here. So we want to do, you know, hi at suppliermafia.com. Any details you're seeing, by the way, are not legit. So put that in. Now we are plugged in. So we've got that phone number, we've got suppliermafia.com, hi at, like what I said, right? The brand name. Now we come down to notifications, and we're essentially going to want to set up some sort of email forwarding for now, right? So we want to go back into our DNS settings, right? We want to add some sort of catch-all, or just add an alias of the hi, but I just like a catch-all because at the start you're not going to have anything. That just means, say your email was support at, and they put 1p, it's still going to get it. Anything before, anything at yourdomain.com is going to be caught in the catch-all and be forwarded to wherever you need it, essentially. Okay, so what we want to do here is, let me get it up. Sorry. So let me refresh this. So that's where we want our sender email to be, nice and lovely like that. Now we want to resend this confirmation, and then it should come through here. Okay, verify that email. Nice. Now we want to set up our DMARC records, and this is just more DNS inside. Okay, here we go. This bit is a bit of a nuisance. So it is just loads of CNAME records. So we have our host name in there. We have our value or our target. For this, I'm just keeping the TTL on automatic. Okay, because again, it says here you do not need to edit the TTL. So we just want to put all these CNAMEs in. Now you're probably thinking, this is a lot to do for each backend, and you are right. But remember, each backend can be used multiple times, and once you get the knack for this, you do it pretty quick. So the first couple times, yes, it's going to take you a decent while to nail this down. Okay, and obviously I'm doing a lot on my other monitor to not show you and leak a load of shit. But yeah, so this can take up to 24 hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to this because basically the back-end essentials now are done. There's going to be a few things we need to touch over in the user accounts and some details and whatnot. But next we're going to go over to do Shopify apps. Okay, so here are some 4 apps we're going to get started with. On your store, you could add a million apps. You don't want to, but you could, right? So we have EtsyJamie, which is going to be our ERP system hookup. Shopify Inbox, this is made by Shopify, and this is like just a live chat that works really seamless because, again, Shopify made it. Track 123, so that your customers can track their orders on your store natively, which means that you can dictate the info you are showing them and push upsells. Looks, or however you want to say it, this is just to have reviews and star ratings on your product pages or homepage or wherever you want to put it. So now you will see, if I look at our apps, we have EtsyJamie, Track 123 Looks, and we have our inbox here. Okay, so what we might want to do is we want to pin that to our navigation. You know, what you can do is you can come in and pin them if they are natively running on Shopify backend. Okay, so I'm a dropshipper. We want to have dropshipping settings on. Let's just go through this default. This is track 123. So again, okay, it just disappeared. That's fine. Let me refresh to see if it updates on the pins. There we go. So we have tracking page. Viewed our default page. Okay. Password. That's probably a good idea to go over. Where is that again? So if we go into online store. Oh, my mouse is caught on my iPad. Click remove password. That's done. So now we want to go back down to track 123. Click in. And now here is our basic tracking page, right? Which I'm not a fan of how that looks, but I'm not here to design a tracking page with you. If you want to do that, you come in here, customize, and you can do it however you want. Now we have Shopify Inbox. We can click here. We do turn on chat. It should be ticked here. As you can see down here, this is how it comes. So what we can do is, what do we want here? This text to be. We can change our colors to be more on brand, right? We can change the location of it, right? So do we want it higher up? Do we want it highest, lowest, or do we want it on the left? Do we want it small? Do we want it to be a smiley face, right? Now, so your customers can use this as a live chat, write a message to you, and that will be shown in here. Like so, okay? So we have the basics now set up, the framework of the back end. The next thing we're going to need to do is, let me check if this demarc's done. It says 24 hours. Oh, for God's sake. There's some really neat tricks I want to show you in here, and I might be able to do it, but I won't be able to edit them, right? So maybe I can. Okay, I can. Brilliant. So here we have the email that goes out to our customers when they order. Now let me just check, because it's actually probably going to be a different one. So when you update an order, yeah, okay, so it is this one. So when you fulfill an order, you put your tracking number in, right? Then they are going to automatically get this email from Shopify, right? So what we want to do is we want to go to edit code, and we want to search for tracking number. Okay, so here we have, you know, the tracking number company behind that. So the one that's being put in on the back end will be pulled here. The URL to track that from natively from the courier. then the company, the tracking number, and then a link there for the tracking URL, blah, blah, blah. So what we want to do is we essentially want to delete that. And we want to write here, you will receive your tracking link shortly. Because this is going more in depth now. This is going more in depth. I'm going to go over the framework of how you set this up, but I'm not going to set it up in this video. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to use a tool called Klaviyo. Now, Klaviyo is an email system that you can link to your Shopify store. So all of the data from Shopify goes over to Klaviyo, all of your customers and triggers. So if you set up an email flow that will detect when an order has been fulfilled, then an email will go out to that customer doing whatever you want. And if you use a tool like Track123, where a customer can natively track their shipment on your website, you want them using that, right? You want to be on, hidden drop shipping mode. You want it to not be obvious it's coming from China and hide that as much as you can. But if they figure it out, they figure it out. So your tracking link will receive you receive your tracking link shortly is true, because when this email goes out, maybe that flow is set up to go out 30 minutes after this. So then they will have a button in that email that will take them back to your site, to that tracking link, to their own tracking page for their order. And that is what they're going to use to track this. Okay, so we want to then remove the stuff after. This is a link. And if we save that, oh, for God's sake, man. Is it because there's two end ifs? No. Oh, it's because it's undoing else if. Is it really this janky from it? Let's see if I can just do that. Nope. So you want to play around with it. Just stick it in ChatGPT and ChatGPT will do it for you. But this is quite important. Shouldn't be over. Okay. Whatever, right? But that's what you want to figure out. You want to do, you will receive your tracking link shortly. So it is not going to be, saying Yanwen, Yun Express, tracking link, and then it comes up to the customer all in Chinese. That's just going to cause a bunch of issues, right? No one wants to do that. Now, what you can also do is play around in here, right? Just turn that off. Ideally, you want to limit the amount of native Shopify emails that are coming out, because you want to be able to manage it all in Klaviyo, right? So then if you come up to here, this is where we can play with the coloring. So you got to save it to update it, and then we can see, so it'd be more on par. We can add the logo. I don't have a logo. Yeah, so this is just Shopify's native emails. This is probably the best you're going to get from it, okay? Now, let's talk themes, the front end, the visual stimulation for your customers, your brand imagery. How important is it? It's quite important. It's quite important. But the worst stores I've ever seen have also made the largest amounts of money I've ever seen. Okay, so selling the right product in the right way is always going to be better than worrying about centering a div. If you know, you know. So we have some free themes here. Sense is a very popular one. Dawn's a very popular one. Refresh is pretty good. We have this stupid theme generation AI from Shopify. I hope they're going to work on it. Modern Beauty Store. I've never actually used it, but let's see what they come up with, right? So basically the higher entry level dropshipper theme is Shrine. People love to use Shrine because it can save a lot of money on apps, but it's also a bit of a coding mess. There's a lot of spaghetti code. There's a lot of unoptimized things in. So if you do want to use a theme to get started, I would recommend the free themes from Shopify, and then go on and learn how you can add to it, get into custom liquids that are optimized, and then look at buying a paid theme like Impact or something, right? So this is something, it's just cooked up here. The most important thing I want to look at is the product page, but it's not letting me see the product page because it's just junk and it's not real products. Okay, I get it, right? So this is quite an important task, and you kind of want to dedicate yourself to learning how to set up the most optimized websites possible. And on your front ends, I have done a video covering this and setting up a really great product page before, but I know shortly I'm going to go in depth setting up the whole website. Okay, so stay tuned for that, but I do have a really good video that I posted on it previously, I think using the Sense theme. Now let's cover a basic, tiny smidgen of ChatGPT just to help you get started. Find a competitor, find competitors of your products or niche that are doing really well, and basically just tell ChatGPT, learn everything you can about the sales psychology and copywriting of this or these, right, website. I will be using you to create copy for my own website selling a similar product, right? So we're basically just going to be tailoring a ChatGPT prompt that's going to know our industry really well, our competitors really well, what angles, what USPs they're selling, what social proof, what tactics they're using, so that we can implement it across our site. So as you can see, it's broken it down really nicely, right? So now when we want to get ChatGPT to do copy for our website, we feed it into this prompt because now it has a history of knowing what it should be talking about, okay? Then what you want to be doing too is once you have your product, feed your product in, feed more competitors in, let it see and know more about what you want to sell, right? That's a very important point. Now the next thing I want to do, I will be doing a video on product research, but now I want to make sure that if you are doing your own product research now, so you found a product you want to sell, okay? Use breakevenroascalculator.com, calculate your break-even ROAS in seconds. Now what this is what does your ROAS need to be from your ads to break even, okay? So let's set VAT to none on both of these. Send the product to your supplier. If you need a supplier, go to the link in the description, but get them to tell you what it is. Okay, so say your product is $5 and you want to sell it for 25, your break even is 1.25. So now for every pound you spend, you need to make £1.25 back. And that is a pretty good target, right? So 1.5 is kind of like on the scalability spectrum, but ideally you want it to be like 1.2. You want to be greedy with it, right? So I'd be happy with a 1.33. I'd be happy with a 1.25, you know. But remember, depending on what your product is, depends if it sells. Now this is going to be your base revenue from one product. Now I will discuss offer building after this too, so to work on your AOV, right? So if your cost of goods are £5, then you give a free gift that takes it up to 7, but now your price is 24, right? Or you do a BOGO offer, so you do buy one get one 25% off, but $5 for your initial cogs included shipping too. And guess what? It's a small product, so you don't pay shipping twice. So maybe it only costs $7 to send 2 to your customer, but you're selling it for £32. And now you're at a 1.28, right? It does get confusing. In simple layman's terms, the cost of your product goes here for 1 unit, and the price you sell 1 unit at goes here. Okay. Let me just do 20 now. Okay. Now, how much will it cost you to send whatever your offer is? You might do 2 or 3 bundle. You might add a gift on or something, right? So that takes the price up. You want to work out your break-even ROAS for every price point you have on your site so you can easily manage it. Now, I hope I've explained this enough. If not, just ask ChatGPT. Now, the very last part of this video is going to be offer building. So I've brought Bleem up here, and this is their offer. Okay, so you can buy one of these. You save $18. It was $47. It's now $29, but it's bog standard. You just get one. You buy, you know, what it says on the tin. You buy, spend $29, you get one of them. However, if you buy 2 of them, you're saving $45. You get free shipping plus free body scrub for a silky and shiny skin. Right, body scrub is included for the next orders. Okay, it's died off. Right, that's their offer. The offer is on the 2-pack. It's pre-selected. This is what they want you to buy to get the highest AOV possible. That's average order value. The more you spend, the more they make. So they have to make this enticing. Okay, now we have El Hanel. Here's their offer. Order by midnight for guaranteed free gifts. You get a $40 gift card, training guide, Pilates socks, and a sweat belt. Right, that's their offer. The next one we have is Space Vac. So look, pre-selected on 2 Space Vacs. 1 Space Vac comes with a portable vacuum, compression packing cubes, and a cable organizer. But if you get 2, right, you get this, you get all of this too, but you get more of them. It's the ultimate travel pack. This makes sense, because how many people are traveling alone, right? You also got a bigger saving on this. So this makes more sense to buy, right? And look, look, that's actually really nice, but I bet that is very intensive on the device. 30-day money back guarantee and free returns. Shop with confidence, right? So now you want to buy 2, and look at this, you can tick it. Wow. Wow. So you're getting a free portable. Oh, so look, that's their offer, right? All ticked there nicely, right? So that is an example of the offer. Maybe you buy 2, you get 1 free, right? Maybe you buy 1, you buy 2, you get 1 of them 50% off, something like that. You buy 2 and you get, you know, yeah, free cable organizers, free packing cubes. That's their offer. You're still paying for the portable vacuum, right? So you need to build a good offer, because your store is as only good as your offer. And now I hope you liked this video, guys. I hope I've broken it down. I know I've been yapping for a while, but there is a lot of gems in this video. I hope you enjoy. I hope this helps you.